campground where we have a grove of a little forest and all, but the scenes you see there, you can look it up online probably and find some YouTube or whatever on it, Heather's. I would guess that was, it might have been either the early in the 2000s.
Yeah.
I'm guessing, I'm just not sure. Look it up.
Which movie was that again?
It's called Heather's.
Heather's.
Yes, teenagers.
Wasn't that with like Winona Ryder and?
Yeah,
I'm
you know,
thinking
that
the 90s.
generation,
Yeah.
something like that.
That generation. Mid to late 90s.
Yeah. So the older generation here remembers the Three Stooges. So the Three Stooges have been here, but they had some transition. This was later in their career. Curly, the so-called bald-headed member, had passed away, and they had a new fella. Kind of looked like him, not as tall and as out there and crazy, but they shot a film here, sort of had a medieval England period called Snow White and the Three Stooges. I have yet to look for it, but they shot along this road here. Just some natural history for those who are not as familiar. Poison oak is one of those plants you want to stay away from. Some of you already know that if you get it like me. As soon as I got here, I had no idea there was poison oak, the same, basic version of poison ivy that I grew up with. And within months of arriving here from New York to the East Coast, I wandered into some poison oak. Now I know it. It looks exactly like poison ivy.
Use it free, let it
They always group like that. They're getting the dust of the vehicles going back here, so they're not as shiny as they could be. But yep, that's poison oak. Stay away from it. It can fool you with some other plants, but the biggest lettuce. But this is the last remaining structure, really, from the 20th century Fox era. The Blandings house doesn't qualify because that wasn't on their property. Does anybody want to guess what this is? By the way, the state park created that there. I always joke that I guess they didn't have the key to the door, but I don't know what I actually have some pictures from our docent archive that shows park maintenance with like a jackhammer, and to this day I don't. But actually, there is a picture. I can't believe it must have been lined out a little bit more, but there was a body of a maintenance man, half in and half out. He must have been an awful skinny fellow, but anyway, solid concrete, a really heavy metal door. I mean, it doesn't have a lock on it, and there's those visitors who come and they're just, I'm gonna get this open, and all you can do is put your finger in there like this, but this is so heavy. This was their storage bunker for explosives. Yep. And they designed it such that the outer walls are very thick, but the flat roof up there is much thinner. So if anything accidentally got, set off in there, it would explode easily up above over there. So that was a part of the design. So it's a pretty formidable structure, and the state park evidently had no interest to take it down, and so here it is today. But I say about it being nasty in there, I've seen the door open, and I mean when you push it closed, it's like Herculean effort. By yourself, oh man, and probably to the hinges. But look at those hinges. But anyway, people are throwing trash in there all the time, so it's pretty funky in there. And does anybody know about hantavirus? Ever heard of that before? Hantavirus it can be a deadly disease, and it gets the stage where it can affect humans is that you're in an enclosure that has very little circulation, and it's coming from the feces of mice. And if you go in here poking around, and there has to be mice in there that have been in there and all, especially when the door's been left open. And you're walking through there, and you're kind of, noticingly kicking it up, and any dust that you kick up and it floats up to your nose, it can be fatal. I've been here a little over 25 years, and I've heard about it, not in this park, but it was somewhere else where that happened. So you wouldn't want to go under a house if there was a crawl space or anything that's windowless. It doesn't have the ventilation and all. you have to, but you better wear the found poison oak. They'd say, hey, can you take care of that? And he'd just get in the middle of it and never get it. So it's not like everyone gets it, but do you want to find out?
Okay, we got it.
You don't.
So right here, another fork in the road here. Well, actually, we just passed it there, but this is where I first came upon all the setup with the crew and equipment, everything for the terminal list. The one I alluded to that doesn't debut until early July. Stars Chris Pratt, and they were all in here with equipment, and then they were filming down at the rock pool. I'll tell you about when we get down there. But every older person here probably knows the name Cher, pop icon. So in the 70s, she made a movie called Mask, M-A-S-K, not M-A-S-H. And her co-star was Sam Elliott, who's still making movies occasionally. He was in Lady Gaga and Bradley Cooper and the remake of The Star is Born. He played the older brother of Bradley Cooper. So when I first started here, I decided I want to see what's in the cabinets and drawers in the visitors. Found a whole lot of goodies in there, and I don't mean sweet goodies, but lots of history. And I actually found some various production records, papers in there, and one of them was from Mask. That they must have given the docents a copy or something, and oh, very good, and I found some photographs, and it looked like right in here, and I live in Westlake Village, and I shop at a Gelson's occasionally right nearby, and I saw Sam Elliott in there, and he lives in Malibu, but they don't have, I guess, a Gelson's maybe down there, and they're more of a specialty store, some of you may know. Well, I hate to bother, a celebrity, totally away from the public, but I did as politely as I could, and I walked over to him. He's doing what I often do these days, watching out for my health and what I ingest, always reading labels. And so he was standing there near like where the meats and stuff are in the cold section, deli-like section. And so I walked over and said, "Excuse me, Mr. Elliott, I'm so sorry to disturb you in a private moment. I'm a volunteer at Malibu Creek State Park, and I just wanted to ask you a quick question to confirm for our history archive. Did you actually film scenes of Mask there?" And he said, "Yes." I said, "Thank you, that's all. I'm sorry again to bother you," and I walked away. If you're over the other side, we'll look at it from the visitor center. I mean, it's huge. And you only get perspective if you see somebody, foolishly, I'll say that, truthfully, just hand climbing the side of it without any protective ropes or whatever. And then you get to see the immensity of that big rock there. So during the Craigs Country Club ownership, primarily when they built the house over there, which was probably end of the 20s, very early 30s, the visitor center today, they built a suspension bridge for walking across to the other side, and it went from here over those rocks over there. And I'm trying to remember if you see it in the, I think you might see it in the video clips, I can't recall for sure. But when you're in the right spot, you see there's an anchor bolt somewhere, but I don't see it right quickly here. I forgot where it is, but just an old anchor that was drilled in and still sitting there. They shot a scene right at the base of what's now known as 8th Wall in the movie, if you will, from this scene actually. And so you had the pecking order. I haven't never seen the reboot to see if they have that same division of species within the simian world there. So you have the, what you see is the gorillas on horseback, the kind of the working class people are more like chimpanzees, if you will. And then the kind of Supreme Court superior leaders were orangutan looking, if you will. So I always like calling them the Supreme Court, but the hierarchy, the leaders, they were all seated up there, and then all their people are out in the, here looking up them. You'll see this in the video clip. It's a really great transition there. So there it is. Whoops. Again, this was not a great resolution of a photo, but it's good enough. And you see, they took the suspension bridge and they kind of made it, wrapped with vegetation there to make it more fitting for the background scene. I don't think they used it in the movie, but we could go through each summer Planet of the Apes and go through them one by one until they don't do the ranch anymore. But that's right here. I will have of it there. And it was used in a handful of movies. It was there. Remember the two silent actors, well, in this case the actress. There's an interesting fact that it's commonly split. You call the male the man, an actor, and the female is the actress. But when I watched which award it is, I think it's the SAG award, the Screen Actors Guild. So this is all their union. It's not like going Critics' Choice or other ones, the Academy Awards. Everybody is there supporting one another. They do it the other award ceremony, but this is their organization. It's been around for a long time. And they always do this bit at the beginning of the award show where the camera goes around predetermined and stops on a different actor or actress. And when they stand up, it's the first time I realized this. A female actor will stand up and say, "I'm Meryl Streep, I'm an actor," or so on and so forth. Are you familiar with that, Carrie? Yeah. So anyway, here's the actor / actress, Mary Pickford, down at the rock pool. Now that rock is still here, but it's never been, I've seen it this much out of the water. So what you'll see is probably just a little bit of it. And I also want you to look, look here closely at this close up. Can you see this kind of outline right there? Looks like a heart. I call it angel's wing right there. You see that cut out? You see that all right? Yeah. You see that there? And see that outline, doing this upside down. Yeah, there it is right there. So that's still there today. So we'll look for that when we get over there. 1919.